Are those new glasses?
Oh, same glasses I've had for years.
All right.
Or those new glasses. You don't ever pay attention to me. What's up, people?
What color are my eyes? It's the day before settlement.
Right.
You are the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through everything up until today. You've wanted to purchase this house. You have no contractual reason, as we as non-attorneys can find, to terminate without severe issues, repercussions.
Yeah, I mean, so there's never really a standard of what happens, but I feel like there are common penalties, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, part of the contract as a buyer, what you sign is you put up an earnest money deposit, right? So typically, if you do end up for whatever reason defaulting on a contract, the most immediate and I would say the most lenient, your best option that could possibly happen to you is you lose your deposit.
Yes, and let me just add into that. Depending on the purchase price of the house, I think a higher purchase price increases the likelihood, in my opinion, of you actually just getting away with only losing your deposit. Because if you're buying, it's usually 1%.
Right.
So if you're buying a $300,000 house, it's $3,000.
Right.
But if you're buying a $700,000 house, you do the math, it's $7,000.
Sure.
And now it's worth fighting over because your $500 go to mediation, which is the next point.
Right.
So just think about it.
Right. And you know, like, just a counter argument to that, sometimes to the buyer, like, it's all relative to your personal situation, right? If your deposit's $2,000, some people might be like, it's worth it if the seller is willing to accept that and let you off scot-free.
Yeah.
Some people might be like, you know what, $2,000 is worth it. Some people might be like, I can't buy another house unless I get that $2,000 back.
Yeah.
So now you're tooth and nail the whole way. So best case scenario, you back out, you lose your deposit, right? So just know that if you're gonna ever back out on a contract, you're most likely gonna lose your deposit.
Right.
Okay? That's not a reason to put down a low deposit. It doesn't work that way.
No, because you won't get the house in the first place.
If we jump to the worst case scenario, you're gonna get sued. Like, you're gonna end up in a court and you're gonna get sued. And I don't, like, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know if you'll win. Like, if you just up and don't show up to closing and you have no real reason to, like, I don't know what you do about that. You know, there's nothing we can really do to help you at that point. In between that, you know, is something we call mediation, right? Yeah. So, you know, it's up to the, you know, a party has to file mediation, like Mark mentioned before. You have to pay for it. And as Mark and I are kind of talking earlier last week, I guess, in my experience, I had been through mediation before. I did not file mediation. It wasn't against me, just for the record. I was just sort of like a witnessing party to it. Mediation is not always about right and wrong. Right. It's always, this is my opinion. I'm going to give my opinion now. Mediation is about settling, right? So sometimes I think people come to mediation, they're like, well, I'm right and I'm right, and you have these opposing sides. It's not really that. It's about how can we settle so that it doesn't have to go to court afterwards, right?
And that's usually money.
Right, and it's always money. Yeah. And, you know, just know that, like, you know, if you can't figure it out in the mediation, you know, good luck figuring it out in court. Yeah. That's why mediation's there, you know? So that's a lot of words to say, please, as a buyer, do not default on your contract.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty is like what we could have said.
And I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk about the key to not defaulting is just communicating with your agent. Even if you do get cold feet, we're not condoning defaulting or backing out for like a non-legitimate reason because like your feelings have changed. But that being said, if your feelings are changing, you need to communicate that in real time to your agent so that we can talk about the options.
Great point.
It happens.
It's a great way to end on.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.